Alright, so welcome back. Hoping you're having the fabulous day here today. I did want to talk about this, right? Because we do have the better translations, alright? And this morning, holy hell, getting translations for those passives, they were not checking out, alright? They were not checking out at all. I had to re-record parts of it to make sure you had the proper stuff. So today I thought I'd re-go over it before the update does come out for KR or JP, right? So today, like and subscribe, helps out a ton. Let's jump into it and let's talk about the Bond buff, the Tristan unit, and Arthur, and some things about them that you should know. So let's check it out. So these are the three characters GC database has gotten updated. I think we'll do it in priority because people really want to hear about Tristan. Now, this character is very weird. He is of unknown race, and people were like, GoGo, why don't you understand that? I understand that why they put him as unknown race, right? But they could have definitely done a little bit better with him. Basically, he can't get used in any frontline team. All he is going to be used for is a backline unit, right? For a Goddess team, this will replace what Nanashi is, basically, due to the fact that if you look at it, he will raise 15% defense-related stats for Goddess race allies. That's it. Simple as that. That is better than what Nanashi can do, right? So you're going to get, what, 45% defense increase because of him. If you look at whatever Nanashi is, I think that gives you, let's see, the start of the ally's turn applies the buff to allies with 2 or less cards, increases max HP, crit resistance, and crit defense by 20% for 1 turn. That additionally reduces the attacking enemy's ultimate gauge by 1 orb per turn. Then you add this over here, unknown race allies get this, increase the defense-related stats by 20%, right? Whatever it is. Now, this is 45%. It's just, that's it, right? That's what you get. Simple as that. It's pretty good. He'll have more CC. When he gets his relic and like that in the future, he will get more. Right now, he doesn't have cosmetics, so his CC will remain low. I don't know why that's the case, but he doesn't launch with cosmetics. What? I've never seen that before, but that's how they're doing it, all right? So, overall, that's what he is as a unit. Yeah, he's, as a frontline, doesn't really work too well because he's unknown, so you really can, like, buff him if you're trying to use him to buff others. Basically, people are speculating a Nidhogg unit, which, I mean, he could because his passive is goddess related, so you can run him in some sort of Nidhogg team, I guess. We'll have to see, right? It's a very weird designy character. It's as if, like, you sniffed something and then, like, put this kit together, okay? It's weird, but I mean, it works in some sort of capacity, right? And then I also was mentioning when I was reading his thing earlier today, I could not mentally comprehend the attacks for some reason. I was like, oh, these are new things. No, they're not. Solidify is something that we've already had in the game for a while, which, you know, considerably may not be the best. Stuns, it's simple. We have that. Secret technique. I was like, what the hell is secret technique? What is this? It's Lost Fiends ult, basically, right? Additional damage per hero skill. So having a secret technique character on bench is actually always pretty good because that ultimate, like when your whole team dies, right, and the character gets thrown in, he will get thrown in with the most cards, and because of that, he will deal a lot of damage. So usually having that on the bench is actually pretty good. So Tristan getting like duped out, being, let's say he's like a 6/6 for you, yeah, he'll kill constantly. So that is there. Even if he's not a 6/6, he'll do a lot of damage because you have a bunch of skill cards. So for that, it's a pretty good unit. It's just like you really can use him and buff him, right? Let's say you run like an unknown team to buff unknown Tristan. I mean, you lost this, right? So like you lost the whole passive, okay? It's very weird, but there's potential. So we'll see how the unit releases, but that's there. We'll do Bond over here first, and then we'll do Arthur third, so we'll just do it that way. But with this character, I don't think what they did exactly handled the unit per se, okay? I still think that he is not a game-breaking festival unit, which, you know, we always don't need a game-breaking festival unit, but, you know, they're just going to release another game-breaking festival unit later on. That's how they do it, right? So us losing this as a game-breaking festival unit just means they're going to make a new one, a game-breaking festival unit at some point. It always happens. They always make some sort of unit that will destroy the meta, and you need it, and then later on makes a unit that destroys that meta, and then it's just like, it's always how it is, right? So we know that, but for this unit, I still think that he is not going to compete in a capacity of that, but we'll see. I don't really know. Basically, what they added is the fact that he works now with fairy allies and human allies, which is good. That actually can do very good in some sort of team comps, and it expands his range of actually being good with other units for the future, right? Depending on what they actually release and who they release over the course of the next few months, this has potential, all right? So for what it is, just this is really good for the character due to the fact that somebody could work and buff him, okay? Now, the main problem with this character is having to apply this debuff and then having to attack with this, okay? They acknowledge that they have to make it where this doesn't expire So far, we don't know if it will expire, right? We think that when we get this skill card tonight, it will say just applies the marker concentration, and that's it. Doesn't actually remove it after 2 turns. It just applies and stays applied. That's it. So we'll have to see how that actually works and what that capacity is. But I still think, as much as people say whatever, they could have just made this card in AoE and we're done. That's it. Like that and this would have been more than enough to help him, right? If he's able to at least apply this properly, he just needs the RNG to pull this card, right? It's still RNG. He still needs to find a snipe card, but if he at least could apply this, he doesn't have to keep on using the same 2 combo and then do mid damage every time, right? You'll be able to at least apply it to everybody and then focus on applying this afterwards, right? It's a little bit of a better thing, though you could argue that could be really, really good, and then they didn't want to do that, but for what it is, I still don't think they did too much, but we'll see, right? They also added the part that at the start of the battle applies Extortion Zone, decrease the ally's damage taken by 20%, and additional 20% for this hero. Whenever an affected ally uses a skill to deal damage on the enemy during the ally's turn, decreases all enemies' attack-related stats by 2%, up to 5 times for 2 turns. Again, part of this has been added. I don't know what part that is, but that's there. Then it increases the HP-related stats of applicable heroes or allies by 5% for every applicable ally on the field. Basically, just it's simple, right? If they're Sin, if they're Human, if they're Fairy, that is now the new applicable ally. Simple as that. They also buffed the ultimate here, where it's a lot better on the multipliers and stuff like that in comparison to what it was before. But yeah, it's a 6% flat out increase and then 3% over here. So 6, 6, 6, 6. Pretty simple, but that's the actual multiplier change, which it's pretty good in comparison to what it was. So he is a lot more accessible for free-to-plays to actually use in comparison to what he was before. So that definitely is a great change, so I'll give it to them there. That is pretty good. But yeah, that's what Bond is. Hopefully, when we test him out tonight, he is pretty good. But I don't know how their, like, buff really affects him, okay? We'll have to see. That's something we'll have to find out tonight. But Excalibur Arthur over here, he's also a very weird unit. He has a deplete ult gauge attack. Simple. His taunt is a very weird taunt. Assumes a stance which grants debuff immunity and taunts the enemies for 1 turn. Heals 20% of the HP at the start of the next turn. Right? That sounds familiar. I know it does. Okay? Yeah? After checking it and after hearing it like 30 times, you know what that is? That's this, bro. He has SR Rimuru, or SR, like the original one, Rimuru's taunt card. And this taunt is not good at all. It's a very mid taunt. I don't know what that is. They gave him a very, very old taunt. And it is not a good taunt by any means. But we'll see, right? Increases the human race allies max HP. Max HP. So, not HP-related stats, but max HP by 10% for each ally of the human race in battle. So, 30% basically, right? When the hero assumes a stance, removes 1 debuff from the ally for each ally of human race in the battle. For every debuff on the allies, increase crit defense of allies by 5%. So, we'll have to see how he actually is. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna like be better than the other Arthur we have, but I mean, it could work. It could definitely work. We'll see what happens. All right. So he also still has his relic, obviously. But for this character, nobody's even talking about him. The star of the show really is just Tristan, due to the fact that Goddess team, it kind of gets a sort of buff, right? Defense-related stat buff is pretty good, but using him in frontline, I don't know how that's going to operate, and if that's even worth it. So we'll see how that actually kind of goes. But he could be a Nidhogg unit, right? He could be. People are saying that constantly, so we'll see what happens there. The Bond buff isn't like too breaking, but it definitely is improvements. For what his kit is, it definitely is improved. You can't lie there. But it's not like, if you're looking for a game-breaking festival, I still don't think this gave it to him. Yeah? You have to still wait for a part 2 unit, part 3 unit, part 4 unit, or some unit in the future that gives him a buff. Like, at that point, that lane that they keep showing, I think there's a new lane coming at some point, right? There is, okay? So, with that fairy unit could buff him, yeah? It is opened up to a bigger capacity of units, so in the future, if any human drops, that could be a buff. If a collab drops next, and it's an AOT buff, or AOT collaboration, right? Which I'm not saying that it is, but if it was, it buffs him. So, it's opened to a better capacity to think about, where he could be good. It's just, maybe more so time will tell in comparison to him being broken just right now due to the buff, yeah? But yes, for what it is, the update itself is pretty good. Also, on the demon capacity of this, it's like a 9% increase altogether for demon units. I don't know if that's like better than what we have, right? So people might run Zeldris on bench. That is 12%, right? That was 12%. And then if you run someone like maybe Chandler, the newer one. Is he a bench unit? Increases pierce rate, and then increases damage dealt by 10% for each debuff. All right, that's separate. Cusack. Right, so it depends. I don't know. I don't run Demon Team too much to know this, but crit chance by that, crit damage by that, increases attack-related stats for each demon in battle by 4%. So maybe it's better just to run him. Yeah, not obviously Tristan, but just Cusack, Chandler, and someone else like that. He really isn't a demon buffer because it's only 9%. It's not too much, yeah? Goddess, though, 15% is pretty good. So for being a benchline unit, that's kind of his capacity, yeah? But maybe he works in the front. I don't really know. We'll do some testing. We'll let you know. But yeah, that's it, really. So hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Peace out. Pretty solid update. Just we'll see how the units work. I do think Bond has a lot of, potential. And he got better. Just did he get broken? I don't think so. But we'll see.